Hello students, I am Sir Glenn, your subject teacher. Welcome to General Mathematics, Grade 11. Our main topic is still about logarithmic functions. So for today's topic, we'll be discussing the process in finding the domain, the range, intercepts, the zeros, and asymptotes of logarithmic functions. But before that, we have to recall the following terms. So the definition of logarithmic function. For all positive real numbers x and b, where b is not equal to 1, there exists a real number y such that y is equal to log base b of x if and only if x is equal to b raised to y. It is read as log to the base b of x or simply log base b of x. We are talking about the domain. The domain of a function is the set of all values that the variable x can take. And the range of a function is the set of all values that the variable y can take. Intercepts are x or y coordinates of the points at which a graph crosses the x-axis or y-axis respectively. So yan yung point of intersection ng graph at ng either x or y-axis. Yung zeros naman, the zeros of a function are the values of x which make the function 0. An asymptote is a line that a curve approaches as it heads toward infinity. It can either be a vertical, horizontal, or oblique asymptote. So, generalization from previous examples. For f of x is equal to log base b of x where b is greater than 1, the example that we used is f of x is equal to log base 2 of x. So, ito ho ang kanyang graph at ang kanyang table of values ay this one. So, as you can see, kapag ang base natin ay mas malaki kay 1, habang lumalaki yung value ni x, lumalaki din ho ang value ni y. For the second condition, kapag yung base ay nasa gitna ni 0 at ni 1, the example that we use is f of x is equal to log base 1/2 of x. So, ito ho ang kanyang graph and the table of values is this one. Kung mapapansin ninyo sa ating graph at pati sa ating table of values, habang lumalaki ang ating x values, lumiliit ho ang ating y values. The properties of f of x is equal to log base b of x where b is greater than 0 and b is not equal to 1 can be observed from the graphs. It is a one-to-one function. It satisfies the horizontal line test. Both of the graphs, yung unang example natin which is f of x is equal to log base 2 of x, and then yung pangalawang example natin which is f of x is equal to log base 1/2 of x. Parehong one-to-one sila kasi they satisfy the horizontal line test. Yung domain nila ay set of all positive numbers. Napansin naman natin na yung graph natin ay nasa positive x-axis lang. The range is the set of real numbers R. So, napansin natin na yung ating graph ay nagmula sa taas papunta sa baba. So, ibig sabihin kasama lahat ng real numbers doon sa ating range. The 0 as well as the x-intercept is equivalent to 1. And then, wala siyang y-intercept. The vertical asymptote is x is equal to 0. And then, there is no horizontal asymptote. So, those are the properties of a logarithmic function if the given is f of x is equal to log base b of x. But how about if the given is f of x is equal to a times log base b of x minus c plus d? So may mga panibagong constants na naidagdag. So ito ho yung formal process in obtaining the domain, the range, intercepts, the zeros, and asymptotes of a logarithmic function of the form f of x is equal to a times log base b of x minus c plus d. Finding the domain and range of a logarithmic function. The domain of the logarithmic function f of x is equal to a times log base b of x minus c plus d depends on the value of c. Since the argument x minus c should always be greater than 0, we solve for x minus c is greater than 0 for the domain. The range, on the other hand, of a logarithmic function f of x is equal to a times log base b of x minus c plus d is the set of real numbers. So take note, kapag logarithmic function ang pinag-uusapan, si range parati ay real numbers. At yung domain naman niya ay nakadepende ho doon sa argument wherein x belongs. Okay? So example 1, determine the domain and range of the following logarithmic functions. For the solution, watch this video. For example 1, we determine the domain, the range of the following logarithmic functions. So the first one, we have f of x is equal to log base 2 of x. So sabi doon sa ating previous slides, nakadepende ho parati sa argument na may variable na x yung magiging domain natin. So, ang gagawin natin dyan, i-consider natin yung argument na, or yung expression na may variable na x, and then so, ikakabit natin yung greater than 0. Kasi, yung x, hindi pwedeng mag-equal kay 0 yan, at hindi siya pwedeng mag-negative. So our domain here, the domain is the set of all x's such that x is an element of real numbers and x should be greater than 0. So itong greater than 0 na ito, pwede itong isulat in terms of interval notation. It will be from 0 to positive infinity. So automatic ho na ang range ng lahat ng ating ang range ng lahat ng logarithmic function ay set of real numbers. So for the second example, the second item, we have 2 times log base 3 of x plus 1. So we have f of x is equal to 2 times log base 3 of x plus 1. So i-consider natin yung part na to. This will become x plus 1 is greater than 0. So transposing positive 1 to the right, it will become x is greater than negative 1. So ang domain natin ay set of all x's such that x is an element of real numbers, comma, x should be greater than negative 1. So yung inequality na ito, pwede siyang isulat in terms of interval notation. This will be negative 1 from negative 1 to positive infinity. So matik na ho na ang ating range ay set of real numbers. For the third example, we have negative log base 2 of 2x minus 3 plus 5. So this will be f of x is equal to negative log base 2 of, so balikan natin saglit, 2x minus 3 plus 5. So 2x minus 3 plus 5. So consider natin yung argument na to. This will be 2x minus 3 should be greater than 0. So i-transpose natin si 3, i-transpose natin si negative 3 sa right side ng ating inequality symbol, and then divide both sides by 2. Ang makukuha natin na inequality ay x is greater than 3 all over 2. So our domain, ang ating domain sa function na to ay set of all x's such that x is an element of real numbers, comma, x is greater than 3 all over 2. So yung inequality na ito, pwedeng isulat in terms of this interval notation from 3 all over 2 up to positive infinity. And for the fourth item, this will be 3 log base 2 of x plus 2 minus 1. So this will be f of x is equal to 3 times log base 2 of x plus 2 minus 1. I-double check lang natin. 3 times log base 2 of x plus 2 minus 1. So, ito yung hahanapin natin ng domain at range. Consider natin ito. So, x plus 2, lagyan natin ng greater than 0. So, solving for this will be x is greater than, we transpose positive 2, it will become negative 2. So, ang domain ho natin ay set of all x's such that x is an element of real numbers, x should be greater than negative 2. So, yung inequality na ito, pwedeng isulat in terms of this interval notation from negative 2 to positive infinity. So, automatic na ang ating range ho ay set of real numbers. So that is how we obtain the domain and range of a logarithmic function. Thanks for watching! Please subscribe to my channel for more math videos.